Kevin McCullough.
Welcome back to Times Square. Kevin McCullough, glad to have you with us on this edition of That Kevin Show. And I want to go back to Dr. Ingrid Skop. I want to have you unfold for us a little bit of the impact that this dishonest approach that the pro-abortion forces has been having on people in recent years. And one thing kind of stands out to me. When we learned of Mr. Gosnell's clinic in Philadelphia, when we learned about the abortion clinics in Texas, for example, that did not even operate with hospital admitting credentials, something started to develop in my mind, at least, that I had not picked up on previously. And that was this pattern of the people that provide the abortions kind of talk about it in a framework of caring for women and giving them medical care and trying to look out for their health and well-being. But in reality, even before Dobbs was overturned, and now we have the malfunctioning of the abortion drug and the malpractice of the hospital that didn't deal with the sepsis and that sort of thing. But it seems to me that one of the most dangerous places a woman can find herself is in the midst of an abortion procedure, because the pro-abortion forces don't seem to care about the health of the woman, regardless of the fact that they advertise, that they make their whole talking points built around that.
Yes, you're right. I mean, the narrative is so deceptive. And one problem is that most of the mainstream medical organizations are very pro-abortion, not because it's good for women, but we look at historically, in many cases, eugenic and population control ideology. They promote this narrative of abortion as healthcare, but approximately 90% of obstetricians do not do elective abortions. So we know it's not healthcare. We know that we have two patients, and yet they continue to promote this deceptive narrative because they think that it'll cause, and unfortunately it has been the case that it's caused many Americans to think, oh, well, this is necessary for women to do well. But again, in the extremely rare cases where a pregnancy complication threatens a woman's life, every state law allows intervention. But the confusion that has been promoted has led some doctors not to intervene, to say, I know I need to intervene, but I can't because of the law. They misunderstand the law. And so it's really, obviously the end goal is to turn the American public against these laws by implying that they're dangerous for women. They're not. Understood correctly, all these laws do is they prevent the elective ending of unborn life. And as a society that says we value human life and human rights, we should all applaud that. But in an emergency, these laws do not apply. The doctors can intervene. But there's really, by the way, no good quality studies that proves that there's any benefit to a woman from an elective abortion.
Right.
So to say that this is evidence-based healthcare is flat out a lie, because there's no studies that document that women benefit from abortion, and many studies that document that they suffer.
So just to summarize, what Dr. Ingrid Skop is telling us is that Kamala's entire talking point about women being vulnerable from a healthcare perspective in this election, if she's not elected, is just flat out not true. Kamala will embrace the policies that will put women increasingly at risk, make their lives more vulnerable, make more women vulnerable to disease, to infection, to potentially death. And it's not the abortion bans. It's not the laws that the voters in several states have passed and said we don't want elective ending of unborn children to occur. Dr. Skop, I just wonder if you could clarify one other thing. She also said in the debate that there was not one single state where a child could be allowed to die or put to death following a botched abortion. Do you have data that seems to reinforce or contradict what she said?
Yeah, one thing to understand is very little data is mandatorily reported. So what we get is really piecemeal because no one is supervising the abortion industry. But we do know from the CDC that approximately 1%, that's about 10,000 abortions a year, are performed when a child can survive separated from his mother. Many of these late abortions are by induction. And abortion providers tell us that they don't usually kill the baby first. So as an obstetrician, I can tell you most children do survive an induction. And so studies have shown that these women these children do survive, and then they are killed by active and passive euthanasia. Maybe put into a bucket full of water, maybe their neck is snipped like Kermit Gosnell did, or maybe they're just left to die by exposure. But it is happening, but the reason we're not hearing about it is no one is supervising the abortion industry. Nobody is making sure, because they operate outside of standard medical care, no one is making sure that they are practicing quality medicine, and women suffer because of that.
Stick around for more of That Kevin next.